All right, my request this week, a quick walkthrough of the interior of the car. It's going to be as is, and remember, it's going to be messy. I haven't driven this car in years. So let's see what we have here. So that's a Simpson Bandit. Han Sport 2. Good to have for everyone that races. Sparco gloves. These are all fireproof, and they're all original. They're not in the best shape. I've been running them since about 2012. This is new to me. It's secondhand. It's a little bit big, but it's a lot cooler to wear than the Sparco suit I had originally. So the car has a welded-in 6-point cage with X-style door bars. It was constructed by Serious Garage Works in Oakville, Ontario. See, the harness ties into the cage, and this is a 2.5-pound fire extinguisher with a quick release. Most racing series ask that you have at least this as a minimum for fire protection. You should be able to put it on and take it off with one hand. So at least a few times a summer, I get asked if this is NOS or nitrous oxide. I always say yes, it is. It is nitrous oxide. It's a nitrous tank. So you can see I've used all my nitrous. It's empty right now. It's not really a nitrous tank. It's an oil accumulator. It's used to prevent starvation of the engine in high G corners. So if the oil pressure drops, it has a pressure device inside which supplies high pressure oil. You can see the coilover reservoirs in the back, the cage. A lot of wiring back there too. I never really took the time to get rid of extra wiring. You see the 6-point cage has reinforced the strut towers. Because I run true coilovers, it's really, if your car is seeing heavy track use, either drifting or racing, that those true coilovers, the strut towers, are reinforced because they're not really meant to carry the weight of the car back there. So just a regular hole saw to slip those reservoirs through the bottom. It's really dirty back there because it's open, and as I shot this, that hatch fell on my back and nearly killed me. So you can see I've cut away some of the steel to mount the wing. Still OEM glass, but this hatch is going to be going soon. So gutted doors, door bars taken out. I was never really totally happy with how this door handle's mounted. It looks pretty dangerous. Like if I pull really hard in emergency to get out, it might pop off. So I've been looking for a way to reinforce that. X-shaped door bars on this side. This is a Kirky aluminum seat. It's secondhand to me. It's also too big for me. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it was cheap and it does the job. It's mounted just by a custom bracket made locally. It's mostly just angle iron, sort of trimmed to shape and bolted to the floor in the stock location. The head halo is just bolts on the back. That's just for head restraint. You can see how the harness ties into the bar and how the seat mounts to the floor. This is an energy hub. You can see typical of cheap energy products. One of the paddles stripped off and fell. I still use the energy hub, even though in general I don't like energy products. I switched to this Momo sport wheel. It's a 355 millimeter wheel. It is pretty heavy, but very strong. Overall, I've been very happy with the Momo. You can see on the ceiling, I keep my original wheel. It's also a 355 millimeter. It's the exact same size, but it's an NRG wheel, and you can see as I pick it up, it's split. So that actually broke on track. I was passing a Porsche Cayman R in a corner at Grand Bend Raceway, and the wheel fell apart. So I would not recommend NRG to anybody. If you feel like you need NRG, it's basically appropriate for clout chasing in parking lots. And if you do grip driving or drifting, it's basically if you have a death wish, you would use NRG products. That should be their slogan, NRG for when you have a death wish. Geforce 6-point harness. I've been using that for years. I mean, I've never had a problem with it. I'm going to look at the tag down here. Manufactured in March of 2014. So that's 2 years expired. They generally last about 5 years. So for most sanctioned series, I'm going to need a new harness. OEM shift knob. I don't ever understood why people replace the shift knob. The OEM shift knob is the fastest one. Nismo 380RS throttle pedal. That just makes rev matching a little easier. All OEM gauges. All the OEM multi-gauges. The most important aftermarket gauge is this oil temperature gauge. And this is an oil pressure gauge and an air fuel gauge. I never look at those. This is where I mount my foot cam GoPro. So if you want to see your footwork, get an inconspicuous place to put it down there. And that's the over-the-shoulder cam. That gives you the best view of the track and your handwork, so you get those two views when you're going down the track. So just an overview of the track car, typical track prep, nothing too advanced, and it's a little bit dirty. Hopefully it continues to come along this season. I actually plan on cleaning it up quite a bit in here. I might actually repaint the interior. That's because I'm saying the wrong words, the interior. So I hope this video was a bit informative. See you probably next week.